We are
You are
live.
live. You are
House.
live. You are live on the ETA. So please do not swear, Yolanda.
Who are our night owls? Who are our fellow night owls?
Oh, you'll get voted out. We'll vote you out for swearing. Do you know? I'm just looking and I'm thinking, do you know where I am at?
What?
Night tabs.
Oh.
Should have took it. I should have took them with me. Just needed them at 9:30. But
Oh, you're late.
good evening, Anne. How are you, beautiful lady?
Nice to see you, Anne. We were just saying who are our night owls. Here comes the first one. Hope you're well, Anne.
Oh, swallowing them tablets. Good evening, Claire. Hey, Joe. How are you all doing? Thank you, Anne, my lovely. We've been to Spiritualist Church. It's been really good. We met Jules, and Jules got a reading. Lucky cat. Hey, Debbie, how are you, my love?
Yeah, Jules got
Sure,
great
I've
reading.
swallowed my tablets. Good evening, Beth.
Soldier!
Soldier in, soldier your first day. Woohoo! Don't you wish you a speedy recovery, and I hope your new piece of equipment isn't doing your head in yet and it's set up. Oh, good you think? Good. I bet Jules is having some snap before she joins us.
Probably like we did. Debbie and Beth, and
Thank you for sharing.
my messages aren't rolling, comments aren't rolling. Oh, thanks.
Are they rolling now? Because you're going to have to see comments.
I've got Joe Mack has got love. There's evening ladies. So
Good evening, soldier. Yes, so Joe's put loved and shared. Soldier's put evening ladies. So you should start seeing everybody coming in. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to throw Yolanda back in. I'm going to take a step back. It's running beautiful. Oh, that's good, soldier. Can't wait to see what you produce, my lovely. So I'm going to leave my. I'm going to pop out. I'm going to be Miss Poppet. I'm going to pop out. And evening, Peter. Evening, Gillian. And I'm going to leave you with the lovely Yo-Yo to tell you all about the Yorkshire history and ghost stories that people have seen. These are real places and real sightings. So, hey, cool. Right, I'll see you in a little while. Just give us a shout out when you want us to come back in.
Will do.
Yeah, so I'll do that, and then I'll.
Right. Okay, everybody. I hope everyone's ready, and it's going to be the first part is going to be York of Ghosts and Legends of Yorkshire. So we're going to do York first, and then the next one is North Yorkshire and the Moors. Nanny Lynn, hello! How lovely to see you. Peter, did I say hello? I'm so sorry. Right, okay. Hope everybody's well. All our lovely nocturnes are in. And Lynn, hello. Here we go. Right. York has been called the City of 1,000 Ghosts. And the supernatural is so popular here that 3 ghost tours are run to satisfy visitors' demands for the eerie. Because of its 2,000-year continuous inhabitation by several different races and cultures, the city has accrued a wealth of traditions, legends, and customs. York Minster stands on a site of great religious antiquity. Legend tells of how King Edwin forsook paganism at the pagan temple of Goodmanham to the east, and gave St. Paulinus a site formerly occupied by Roman barracks on which to found a church. The key point here is that the site was also that of a holy well, now known as St. Cuthbert's Well, which was venerated as home of the earth force for thousands of years before either Romans or Vikings came to the region. In the tradition of Christianization of pagan sites, the present-day Minster was founded on the 12th of April, 627. The well in which King Edwin was baptized can still be seen in the crypt of the Minster, the location adding weight to the legend, as this is the oldest part of the structure. There are a number of saints' miracles connected with the Minster. One concerns St. William, who in 1141 became Archbishop of York. His tenure was stormy, and he was deposed on one occasion by Pope Eugenius before being reinstated and subsequently canonized in the 13th century. His canonization came about as a result of the 36 miracles he performed during his life, of which the most famous took place on his homecoming after being deposed. As he returned to the city, welcoming crowds thronged the streets, and the dilapidated wooden bridge over the River Ouse was so weighed down that the structure collapsed, depositing hundreds of celebrants into the river. William averted certain tragedy by making a sign of the cross and offering a prayer for help. The waters of the Ouse instantly moulded themselves into a bridge over which the drowning people could escape to safety. This and other miracles performed by the saint can be seen portrayed in some excellent stained glass work in St. William's window in the north transept of the Minster. One of the many ghost stories attributed to the Minster concerns a group of people who were viewing the building one summer's evening in the 1920s, when two of the party, Mr. G and Miss C, became separated from the others. As they stood admiring the architecture, they noticed a man standing near them, dressed in full naval uniform, who appeared to be staring intently at Miss C. As Mr. G looked from the man to his companion, he saw that she was white with terror, her lips drawn tight, obviously gripped with emotion, staring at the naval officer. Mr. G turned back to the intruder, who walked across to the pair, leaving over to mutter something in Miss C's ear, and walked on. Astonished at the encounter, which had no obvious explanation, Mr. G attempted to catch up with the retreating man, but he vanished among the evening strollers outside. When Mr. G returned, Miss C had regained her composure and was trying to account to the rest of the party what had taken place. Like many people, she was interested in the possibility of survival after death, and she related how she had made a pact with her brother, with whom she was very close, to the effect that whoever died first would appear to the other if an afterlife made it possible. Her brother had subsequently joined the Royal Navy, and she had forgotten about the agreement until now, when she had seen him in the Minster. Despite assurances from her companions that she must have been mistaken, Miss C insisted that the man had been her brother, and the words he whispered in her ear were, "There is a future state." The woman's account of the experience went on. The instant it uttered those words, my fears were confirmed. I knew my poor brother was dead, and that what I looked at was only his ghost or shadow. The family were officially informed a few weeks later of the man's death, and the time and date given in the official communique were determined to be exactly those of the experience in the Minster. York Minster has been ravaged by fire at least 4 times in its existence, leading one guidebook to describe the destroying force as a fire demon, an apt phrase considering the legends which have sprung up to account for the destruction of the south transept by fire on the night of the 8th of July, 1984. The official explanation for the fire was lightning, but many people refuse to believe that a building so well protected against the elements could be immolated so swiftly, and weathermen added to the mystery when they claimed that although there had been a few thunderstorms in the region, none were known to have occurred within 10 miles of the Minster. The ensuing legends were split equally between those who favoured a religious element involving the wrath of God and those who preferred the idea of alien intervention. Just 2 days previously, the Right Reverend David Jenkins, I've always wondered what's the difference between a right reverend and a reverend? Because there's a very reverend, isn't there? An incredibly reverend? Sorry, that's always confused me, that. Just 2 days previously, the Right Reverend David Jenkins had been installed as Bishop of Durham, causing considerable rancour within the church due to his interpretation of Jesus' miracles as stunts and misinterpretations, and his references to the resurrection in one newspaper as a conjuring trick with bones. When the blaze struck the minster, many of Jenkins' opponents claimed this was direct intervention from God, who was showing his disgust at the heretic's statements. The popular newspapers took up the story, with headlines such as "An Act of God" in the Daily Star and "The Wrath of God" in the Sun. When questioned as to his belief about the fire's origins, purpose and meaning, the Reverend Mowell told the Sun, "I'm not surprised people are talking about divine intervention." If the claim of divine destruction was bizarre, then the other major legendary explanation for the inferno was even stranger. The fire demon in this case was claimed to be a UFO. On the night of the fire, several people saw an orange UFO hovering above the minster, including taxi driver Bill Whitehead, who reported seeing a glowing orb shooting orange flames down onto the roof of the building, and Eddie Acaster, who observed a cigar-shaped object above the minster. Of course, neither claim can ever be proved, and the rationalists eventually settled for the safe explanation that the mystery fire was caused by side flash from a malfunctioning lightning conductor. York is no stranger to unexplained aerial phenomena. In the year 1199, something descended from the sky and was recorded by the religious chronicler Abbot Ralph, who wrote, "In the time of King Richard I of England, there appeared in a certain grassy, flat ground, human footprints of extraordinary length, and everywhere the footprints were impressed, the grass remained as if scorched by fire." This took place sometime in the decade between 1189 and 1199. The Treasurer's House in York is widely famed for its collection of period furniture, and although the present building is mainly 16th and 17th century, the site has been occupied since at least Roman times, evidence of which exists in the shape of a Roman column in the cellar. In his book, This Haunted Isle, Peter Underwood relates the story of a troop of Roman soldiers seen there during the 1950s. The soldiers burst through the walls of a cellar to the sound of a trumpet, startling an apprentice plumber who was working there. The ghosts were a raggle-taggle bunch led by a horseman, and from the description given by the witness, looked as if they were returning in defeat from a battle. The curious feature of the sighting is that the figures had no legs visible below knee height. This seemingly insignificant observation became relevant when it was learned that the level of the old Roman road was below that of the cellar, meaning the ghosts were actually marching at the level of their own time period. Possibly shocked at seeing what was to them the ghost of a 20th century plumber hovering in the air some 30 centimetres above the road. The soldiers marched straight across the cellar and disappeared through another wall. Before the terrified plumber had time to blurt out his story to the Treasurer's House curator, he was asked, "You've seen the Romans, haven't you?" His sighting is corroborated by the present-day curator, who holds statements from other witnesses of the ghostly legion. The religious presence in the city has led to the appearance of ghosts in a number of sacred buildings. The Church of the Holy Trinity, which stands in Micklegate, is haunted by the abbess of a convent once belonged to the church. She was killed by soldiers during the dissolution of the monasteries when she refused to leave the convent, telling the troops that they would enter the nunnery only when she was dead. and if they slew her, she would return to haunt the spot until the ground was reconsecrated. Even though Holy Trinity Church was subsequently erected there, her ghost becomes bound to the site and was repeatedly seen by churchgoers. A letter in the 6th of May 1876 edition of the Ripon and Richmond Chronicle gives an account of one experience. In the middle of the service, my eyes, which had hardly once moved from the left or north side of the window, were attracted by a bright light, formed like a female, robed and hooded, passing from north to south with rapid gliding motion. The robe was long and trailed. About half an hour later, it again passed from north to south, and having remained about 10 seconds only, returned with what I believe to have been the figure of a small child. The figure was seen many times, and always through the same window, leading to suspicion that it was an illusion created by tree branches blowing in the wind. In an attempt to lay the ghost, one rector had the trees cut down, confident this would end the sightings, and for a while nothing was seen. The rational clergyman congratulated himself on his ability to banish superstition. But then, several months later, the figure was seen flitting past the window during a marriage ceremony. Ghostly organ music has been heard in the depths of night, emitting from the Theatre Royal in St Leonard's Place. The old building is also home to the ghosts of a nun and of an actor who died during a duel and returned to haunt his favourite theatre. In a vain effort to recapture the success of his acting days, the thespian has often been seen standing backstage or in the wings observing the performances. The nun's origins are less easy to explain, although it is said that she worked at St Leonard's Hospital, which once occupied the site of the theatre. In a tragic story familiar to ghost hunters everywhere, the nun was supposedly walled up alive. Oh God. The nun was supposedly walled up alive in the Middle Ages for an unknown transgression of her views. The museum library in York suddenly found itself at the centre of attention from the national press when a ghost was seen in the curator's office by caretaker George Jonas one evening in September 1953. In an encounter lasting several minutes, the caretaker watched the man stand up, walk past him with no acknowledgement, and enter the library muttering, "I must find it, I must find it." Although it was late and no members of the public should have been in the building, the caretaker presumed that this was just an absent-minded scholar who had forgotten the time. He followed him into the library and was just about to ask if he could be of assistance when the figure faded away. As it vanished, the ghost dropped a book on the floor, and perhaps wisely, the stunned curator left it where it lay so he could check the next day that he had, the stunned caretaker left it where it lay so he could check the next day that he had not imagined the entire scene. Sure enough, when he returned in the company of the curator, the book was where the apparition had left it. That was caretaker and curator, sorry about that. 1 month later, the haunting was repeated at exactly the same time, 7:40 p.m, and this happened again on the following month. Both events were witnessed by Mr. Jonas, and on one occasion by an ex-soldier, when they both saw the same book, Antiquities and Curiosities of the Church by William Andrews, thud to the floor. In an attempt both to prove the ghost's experience and his own sanity, Mr. Jonas arranged an audience for the expected December visit of the ghost. Altogether, 6 people, including a doctor and journalist, sat waiting. On this occasion, the ghost was 2 minutes late, but at 7:42, all present saw and heard the usual book being slid from the shelf and dropped to the floor, although no apparition was seen. The assembled skeptics were convinced they had been witness to a genuine supernatural event, and further investigation suggested that the apparition was one of Alderman Edward Wooler, a solicitor and antiquary from Darlington, who had formerly owned the book. York's ghost trail can also be followed through the public houses and inns of the city. Each floor of the Angler's Arms in Good Ramgate had an unearthly presence. The top floor is home to a ghost smell, an odour of lavender which intermittently drifts through the room, while the first floor is alleged to be the haunt of a young child, thought to be dressed in late Victorian garb. The cellar of the pub holds a nameless horror which in the past has interfered with the beer pumping mechanisms. Ghost investigator Terence Whitaker was told that the subterranean entity was a creature of great age and intelligence and surrounded by utter evil. Legendary highwayman Dick Turpin was hanged at York in 1739, and his tomb can be seen in the churchyard of St Denis and St George. Turpin was a true folk hero and attained even more fame during his period of imprisonment. One newspaper account claimed that the whole country have flocked to see him and have been very liberal to him, inasmuch as he had wine constantly before him. His jailers soon realised that money could be made from infamy, and made over £100 by selling alcoholic beverages to Turpin and his admirers. Brave to the last, Turpin went to the gallows without complaint, and events presented the attending chaplain with an ivory whistle to show there were no ill feelings. Although as Britain's most famous highwayman, Turpin is credited with the feat of riding from London to York in 15.5 hours. It was actually another highwayman, Ben Nevison, who did it. He was also tried and hung at York in 1685. Being a major centre for legal matters, with courts of all kinds regularly convening there, York was the main location in Yorkshire for trying witches during the 17th century. One of the ill-starred Pendle witches, Jenny Preston from Gisborne, was tried, sentenced and executed at York, and one of Yorkshire's few witch burnings took place in York in 1648. The wise woman was alleged to have crucified her mother and sacrificed a small calf and a cockerel to Satan. It is difficult in these cases to know just how much evidence was concocted by malicious witnesses and how much was actually belief and practice on the part of the witch. If these women really did believe they held such powers, it must have been a very strong belief indeed to risk the certain and horrific consequences if they were discovered. Nonetheless, a relic of York's witchcraft days can be seen in the crypt of the Minster, where there is a stone carving of a witch and her demon-like familiar. The outskirts of York have their own kind of ghosts. One in particular, known as Old Nance, has been seen regularly over the years. Nance lived at Sheriff Hutton and was engaged to Tom, a long-distance mail coach driver. However, during his enforced period of absence, she became besotted with a highwayman, whose child she bore. This dangerous liaison was discovered by Tom, and the couple parted in acrimony, vowing never to see each other again. Some years later, as he neared York, the coach driver came across the crying figure of Nance, child in arms, at the side of the road. Forgetting their previous differences, he lifted them aboard the coach and drove quickly into York for assistance. As they travelled, Nance sobbed out her story. She had been treated badly by the highwayman, who eventually had gone back to his wife when the child was born, leaving them homeless and poverty-stricken. The coach drove hard to reach York and arrived at the Black Swan Inn, formerly in Coney Street. but both Nance and the child died during the night. Before she passed away, Nance promised Tom, "If my spirit is allowed to return, I will always warn you, your children, and your children's children of any coming danger." The coachman was devastated by her death, but thought no more of the deathbed promise. However, Nance was true to her word. Years later, as he was driving past York through a thick and dangerous mist on what is now the A64, the ghost of Nance appeared beside him, urging the horses to a gallop until they came to rest in the courtyard of the Old Black Swan, whereupon the ghost faded away. She returned on many subsequent occasions to help Tom out of trouble on the road, and he passed on the knowledge to his son, who followed in his footsteps as a coachman. Since then, the spirit of old Nance has been frequently seen on the A64, motorists reporting a ghostly white shape which appears in thick fog, warning of danger ahead, vanishing if any driver attempts to speak to her. A battle also left its ghostly memory near York on the 2nd of July, 1644. During the English Civil War, the Puritans, led by Oliver Cromwell, defeated the Royalist forces at Long Marston. Cromwell used the old hall at Long Marston village as his base for the battle, and his ghost has reputedly been seen there on several occasions, pacing up and down, deep in thought before the conflict. Rumours of ghostly combatants seen in the area were rife for some years, and the rumour was confirmed in November 1932 when two motorists, lost while searching for the Wetherby Road, came across a group of ragged-clothed men trudging alongside the road in the ditch. As the motorists slowed down to ask if help was needed, they realised with a shock that the men were wearing clothes of the Cavalier fashion and appeared not to notice the 20th century travellers or their car. The Cavaliers clambered out of the ditch and wandered into the centre of the road, where they were run down by a bus travelling in the opposite direction. The car drivers stopped and searched the area for what they were sure must be the bodies of the men, but they found nothing. It seems they had witnessed a group of royalists fleeing to safety from the defeat at Marston Moor. Ghosts were seen on the edges of the city at Stockton in the Forest in 1812, when two farmers saw a spectral army apparently on manoeuvres high above them. J. Horsfall Turner wrote of the event in 1888. When looking after the cattle, they were suddenly surprised to see at some distance what appeared to them a large body of armed men in white military uniforms, in the centre of which was a person of commanding aspect in scarlet. After performing various aerial evolutions, the whole body began to move in perfect order towards the summit of the hill, passing the spectators at a distance of about 100 yards. As the men watched, the ghostly column was joined by another troop of ghost soldiers, this time dressed in dark clothing, marching up the opposite side of the hill. The two forces met in the air on the hilltop and merged together as they disappeared down the far side of the hill. A thick curtain of smoke covered the plain with their passing, and Turner noted, "The time for the first appearance of this strange phenomenon to the clearing up of the smoke was no more than 5 minutes. This could possibly have been a misperceived meteorological or astronomical phenomenon, but over 100 years have now passed without a convincing explanation for the sight being put forward." And that is the end of the York chapter. We're now on to North Yorkshire and the moors. And by the way, I haven't pre-read this. I had pre-read that and I made loads of boo-boos. So good luck with this one. And if I get any pronunciation issues, I'll try and spell for you. Oh my God. I've just seen on the first page. Oh well. It'll be fun. Have fun, everyone. From York, the road towards the North Yorkshire moors passes an airfield at Linton-on-Ouse, once used as a base for Halifax bombers during the Second World War. It is now home to an RAF training squad and a ghost. Airman Walter Hodgson began to haunt the airfield in 1959 after his family had erected a plaque to his memory on the control tower. Since then, terrified air traffic controllers at the airfield have seen the ghost of a tall figure dressed in flying kit wandering the airfield. Sightings reached a peak during 1988, and the RAF were concerned enough to give a press conference at which they officially confirmed the haunting. One of the air traffic staff who saw the apparition said, "It was a man about 6 foot tall. It moved towards the approach room and then disappeared. I was in hysterics." Travellers on the busy A1 trunk road to the west may catch a glimpse of 3 gigantic stones in a field near the market town of Boroughbridge. Standing up to 6 metres tall, they date from around 1700 BC and are among the largest standing stones in England. Flacius, Flacius, the ghost of a Roman centurion who died defending the fort at Aldborough, has been seen wandering the A1 here, having chosen to stay and guard the road where the legions marched. They too would have wondered at the origins of the mysterious monoliths known as the Devil's Arrows. In a dispute with the town of Aldborough, the devil was said to have thrown the standing stones from the top of How Hill, near Fountains Abbey, while shouting, "Boroughbridge, keep out Otway, for Aldborough town I will ding down." Boroughbridge, keep out way, for Aldborough town I'll ding down. I don't know what ding means. Maybe it's a northern thing. I will ding down. Bring down? Anyway, Camden notes that there were 4 arrows until 1532, when one was lately pulled down by someone who hoped in vain to find treasure. No treasure was discovered, and the felled stone was later used as a foundation stone in a bridge over the Test, a tributary of the River Ure. Fountains Abbey near Ripon was once a thriving religious centre run by the Cistercian order of monks. The ruins, set in a spectacular natural amphitheatre, are all that is now left of the once wealthy abbey. Although no visible ghosts have been seen there, several visitors have reported hearing the eerie sound of monks chanting in the cloister court. Robin Hood visited the abbey, giving his name to Robin Hood's Well, which is the site recorded in the ballads near which Robin fought the Curtal Friar, later to be Friar Tuck. For those who see Robin as a representation of the pagan gods, either in flesh or myth, the legend of him fighting with a man of the cloth is significant. The battle between pagan and Christian ended when they both fell in the river, becoming firm friends afterwards, perhaps a kind of baptism for the man of the woods. A tradition that Robin's bow and arrows were once kept at the abbey has aroused much speculation, and people often wonder what became of these artifacts. In fact, they never existed, yet can still be found there. They were not real weapons, but carvings of a bow and arrow, still to be seen in the Lady Chapel. A remnant of the vegetation spirit can still be seen by the curious at Fountains Abbey. On the inward wall of the Lady Chapel is an angel, as befits such a sacred building, but on the outer wall at the keystone of the window arch is a carving of a very different kind. Looking outward into wild nature, is a stark green man, carving with a snake-like vegetation issuing from its mouth. Once seen, this carving is never forgotten, and it is a testament to the underlying beliefs of even the builders of Christian edifices. This part of Yorkshire seems to be a focal point for all types of strange phenomena, for just a few miles away at Thirsk there is Pudding Pie Hill, an ancient tumulus or burial mound, which is the dwelling place of a fairy tribe, and in the 1960s a ghost was photographed at Newby Church. It has become one of the most convincing ghost photographs yet. Oddly enough, it was a member of the clergy who managed to snap the ghost while photographing the altar at Newby Church near Ripon. Reverend Lord did not see anything through the viewfinder at the time and had no idea that his prince would come back from the chemist displaying a hooded and staring transparent figure standing just to the right of the altar. Stranger still, the church had no history of a haunting and had only been built in 1870. The photograph and negative were thoroughly checked by experts, and no evidence of fraud or film fault came to light. From the photograph and reference points in the church, it was possible to estimate that the startling apparition was up to 2.7 meters tall. Crossroads are traditionally haunted locations. Witches were often buried there, as they could not be buried in consecrated ground, and it was thought the cross formed by the roads would contain their spirit. The same rule applied to murderers who were once executed and hung in chains on a gibbet. The crossroads near Kirkby Wiske, W-I-S-K-E, the crossroads near Kirkby Wiske was the site of just such a gibbet, marked now by the Busby Stoop Inn. The pub gets its name from Thomas Busby, who murdered a local vagabond when a business deal went wrong. He was summarily tried and executed, and his body was brought back to hang at the crossroads. A contemporary account of the event can be found in the diaries of Leeds antiquarian Ralph Thoresby, who in May 1703 wrote, "Along the banks of the Swale are the very pleasant gardens of Sir William Robinson, but a few miles further a more doleful object of Thomas Busby hanging in chains is seen." Travellers passing that way alone on moonlit nights are advised to keep their eyes firmly on the road as they near the crossroads, lest they should see the ghostly shadow of Busby swinging from the vanished gibbet. His spirit can also be seen looking out from one of the upstairs rooms of the Busby Stoop Inn, which faces the former gibbet site. Tradition states that anyone seeing either of these two apparitions will meet with misfortune before the next full moon. Gabriel ratchets were often seen flying over North Yorkshire. Skeptics and those without the gift to see between the worlds would claim that they were merely flocks of wild geese, whose calls in the darkness sounded unearthly, but were nevertheless harmless. The country folk of North Yorkshire knew otherwise, and to them the hounds were portents of death and destruction. Even the educated classes held a belief in this Norse legend. David Nateby, the schoolmaster at Bedale, was no exception, and in his diary for the 11th of October 1773 wrote, "There is now a certainty of death to come among us. For the third time the ratchet pack hath haunted for souls over Bedale." When no ill luck followed his sighting of the wild hunt, he still believed something was to happen, and wrote on the 18th of October, "But 7 nights now gone since Gabriel's raced overhead, and now there has come to us a blood-red moon, a sure sign we are to be judged for our sins." Sutton Bank, the road which runs between Gormire and the Kilburn Horse, up onto the moors has a ghost light, a flickering spectre which travels up and down the A170 road at night. An old man who lived alone on the bank related one story concerning this spook light to writer William Foggett, in which he saw the light while out walking his dog. At first it was just a bright light, but as he watched and bravely crossed the road for a better view, the light formed into the shape of a thin young girl. As the ghostly waif passed the man, he felt a wave of icy air and the ghost vanished. This story has a sequel. In 1936, the skeleton of a Bronze Age woman was discovered on Sutton Bank, exactly opposite the old man's house, and the location of the ghost sighting. Since then, the light has been seen, but it never takes the form of the girl. The gravesite is marked by an inscription. Once the high plateau of the moors is reached, the scenery changes dramatically. Moorland extends as far as the eye can see, broken only by the occasional road. Anyone crossing the moors, either by road or by one of the many footpaths, cannot help noticing the numerous burial mounds and standing stones which dot the moor. This area must once have been an important site of worship for prehistoric man, and the profusion of these monuments and megaliths creates a ritual landscape about which we can sadly now only speculate. As Christianity came to remote moorlands, hamlets and farms, the old standing stones and burial places were attributed to the devil or to fairy origins, and preaching crosses began to spring up in their place. Some were undoubtedly modified pagan standing stones. Others were simply set up on existing pagan sites, but just as the prehistoric stones and mounds attracted tales and legends, so did many of the numerous moorland crosses. The crosses known as Old and Young Ralph and Fat Betty standing near the road at Rosedale Head are the most mysterious. In the Yorkshire tradition, that stones are often named after people who have died at the mercy of nature, the tales attached to these stones developed from the legend of a boundary dispute involving Old Ralph, a Rosedale dweller, and the prioress of Rosedale Abbey. One legend tells that Ralph and the prioress were killed in bad weather while on the moors arguing about whose land was whose. The crosses and stones were erected to mark both their passing and the revised limits of Rosedale Abbey. Boundary stones of a geographical area and also marking the boundary between life and death. The cross named Fat Betty is not actually a cross, but a white painted rock, repainted each year, and one of 3 stones in Yorkshire which are ritually treated in this way. A possible link with earlier stone veneration. Fat Betty and the other Rosedale crosses have all been used over the years by travellers to give offerings to the gods in the form of coins, which are still to be found in the cracks and fissures of the stone. If you find one, only take it if you are really in need, otherwise bad luck will follow. At Fairy Cross Plains above Fryup, F-R-Y-U-P. At Fairy Cross Plain above Fryup, fairies were seen in the area at the beginning of this century. One farmer's wife saw a green-clad fairy many times over the years, and she would watch him and his friends come down from the moors and disappear into the ground by a stream bridge. When her sceptical husband expressed surprise at his wife's dealings with dwellers from the other world, she casually pointed out to him that moles live underground, so why shouldn't fairies? This deep-rooted faith in denizens of another world, existing parallel with our own, led to numerous superstitions. and up until very recently, people on the moors were easy prey to belief in witches. Veterinary practices and agricultural knowledge was still in its infancy, and any problems with either cattle or crops were attributed to the machinations of witchcraft. To counter this, cunning or wise men sprung up everywhere. Whitby folklore researcher Edna Whelan is of the opinion that the last wise man of the moors died long ago. She was told that the sorcerer Charlie Brocket, who lived at Ellis Cottage in Goathland, Goathland, died sometime in the 1930s after a long time, in which he enjoyed a good reputation for producing talismans and amulets to counteract the effects of witchcraft. After his death, a bottle full of pins and needles, a well-known charm against spells, was discovered concealed in the chimney breast of his house. Deep in Arncliffe Wood at Glaisdale is the Wishing Stone, a natural boulder surmounted by a tree. It was thought lucky to walk around it 9 times while holding a wish in your mind. Writer Peter Walker, who was raised in Glaisdale, remembers doing this as a child, and also placing coins in fissures in the rocks or in hollow in the tree. He also remembers searching fruitlessly for the legendary Robin Hood's cave, thought to be in the woods. The cave was said to lead to a tunnel, which in turn ran far under the moors to Robin Hood's Bay, and was used by the wandering outlaw to outwit his would-be captors, and also for smuggling activities. Travellers on the moorland road from Pickering to Whitby cannot fail to notice the Hole of Hawkham, a huge depression scooped from the ground to the west of the road as it crosses Lockton Low Moor. It has become such a popular landmark that a car park now exists for motorists to view the scenery and the devil's handiwork. Local legend claims that the devil scooped out the hollow with one hand and threw the spoil to the east, where it landed to form the hill known as Blakely Topping. Other legends connected with the Hole of Hawkham tell that the debris was thrown either north to form Freeborough Hill, under which King Arthur and his knights are said to sleep, or northwest to become Rosebery Topping. Old Nick also gave his name to the Devil's Elbow, a sharp bend in the road to the north of the hole. Nearby stands the Saltersgate Inn, which claims to have a peat fire that has burned solidly at least since 1800. The origins of this perpetual flame appear to be yet another vestige of the agricultural year's ritual of carrying the light of the sun in the form of a flame from one year to the next. When the devil dropped in at the Saltergate to seek shelter and food one dark and stormy night, he had not reckoned on meeting a local priest who was staying there. Naturally, a dispute ensued, and the priest performed an exorcism to banish the power of evil, whereupon the devil slunk off to the kitchen, but would not leave the inn. Realizing the futility of this newfangled Christianity, the local people employed a far older method and immediately lit a peat fire which trapped the devil in the smoke. Tradition says he cannot perform evil in the pub as long as the fire is kept burning in some part of the building, and it now smoulders happily in the public bar. This story is so well known that the inn had its sign changed to read the legendary Saltersgate Inn. One of Britain's many enigmatic mazes stands by the roadside at Dalby in the Howardian Hill, Howard and then Ian at the end of it, in the Howardian Hills just off the B1363. This is one of the few mazes cut from turf and Yorkshire's only existing example. Despite extensive studies, no one really knows the purpose of these mazes, whose history can be traced back to the ancient Greeks. Consequently, they attract legends and tradition. One of these involves the running of the maze and the labyrinth at Dalby, also known as the City of Troy, and has a local tradition warning that no one should run the maze more than the magical number of 9 times, or bad luck will befall them. There was also a maze at Azenby near Thirsk, behind the Shoulder of Mutton public house. This maze, long since vanished, was carved into an ancient earthwork known as Fairy Hill. As recently as 1908, local people would perform the tradition maze running, and the antiquarian Hadrian Elcroft recorded that some villagers could remember treading it on many a summer's evening and kneeling down at the centre to hear the fairies singing. St Mary's Church at Lustingham was originally founded by St Cede as a monastery, and according to the Venerable Bede in AD 731, St Cede, or said CEDD, was aware of an ancient power there, and wished to purify the site of the monastery from the taint of earlier crimes by prayer and fasting. This took the entire period of Lent, after which a monastery, later superseded by the church, was built. The crypt at Lustingham, in the oldest part of the church, still harbours a strange and tangible atmosphere. As the church guide says, if you walk down the stairs to the crypt, you are stepping back in time. In this holy place, the spirits of Sed and Chad move on the stones of the floor and in the air you breathe. Scattered about in this subterranean chamber, unchanged for over 1,000 years, are several Anglo-Saxon carvings with their interlocking designs. There is also a dragonstone dating from the 8th century, thought to have once been part of the abbot's throne. Whether it is a combination of these strange stones and imagination, or whether some ancient power still flows at Lustingham, is uncertain, but several people have had strange experiences in the crypt, including the normally sceptical author who had to leave rapidly on one occasion due to what can only be described as a supernatural pressure in the air. When author Guy Ragland Phillips took a witch to the church, her natural sensitivity felt an evil influence emanating from the eastern end of the crypt. While in the crypt, she doused several stones there, pronouncing each one all right until she came to the remains of the Anna cross, which had been brought down from the moors years before. As she touched it, she found the source of the power and said, "This is it. It's horrible, very evil. It sticks to my hand." The church is haunted too. One of its previous incumbents, Canon Gordon Thompson, claimed that he had encountered a disembodied spirit several times near the door between the vestry and the sanctuary. Pubs seems to have an attraction for ghosts of all types. Whether this is to do with the human dramas played out in hostelries over the centuries, places where people gather to celebrate or commiserate on the vicissitudes of life, or whether it is to do with the presence of other equally potent spirits is debatable. However, the ex-landlord of the old Gantondale Inn on the B1249 between Stakston and Foxholes is certain that the malevolent spirits not only exist, but were the cause of his bad luck. The old Gantondale already had a history before Tony Nance took it over. A grey lady ghost had been seen. There was the sound of a phantom coach and horses, and rumours of a murder were prevalent in the area, although nothing was ever proved and no body found. Eventually, in 1985, like so many haunted buildings, It was half destroyed by a mysterious fire. While fighting the blaze, firemen were disturbed by glimpses of a ghostly figure in the flames. After the blaze, the inn stood empty for a while, and then Mr. Nance moved in and began renovation work. Whether or not he knew of the building's haunted history is unknown, but the force soon made its presence felt. The case is dealt with fully in Roy Palmer's Britain's Living Folklore, where Mr. Nance gives a long account of the haunting, describing how the evil atmosphere seemed to permeate the very fabric of the building. Although Mr. Nance had worked in many lonely and atmospheric buildings before, the inn at Gantondale held a peculiar terror for him. It was as though the building was crying, he said. I used to dread coming into work. The sight of it turned my stomach at one time. Then just as quickly as it had begun, the haunting stopped, following the discovery of bones hidden in the wall. The old Gantondale Inn is now open for business, its customers totally unaware of the malevolence the pub once played host to. And that is the end of that chapter. The next one is Mystery Animals in Yorkshire. So I do apologise for the boo-boobs I'm making that. Lindsay, you coming to join me? And my mispronunciation of some of the words.
If I said no, what would you do?
I'd probably say to everybody, well, what are we going to talk about?
If I said no, I'm not joining you.
Yeah, I don't know
what would you do?
I don't know.
Well, I love them stories. Joe put, is it wrong to say she wants fish and chips right now?
Well, we've just had a burger, Joe.
I know. Excellent yo-yo, well done, says our soldier.
No,
evening, everybody. I hope you're enjoying these stories. I think it's brilliant. I love, like I said, the history and sing. Ha 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 ha.
La 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 la.
I don't know if I put sing somewhere. No, read for 90 reads. No, I haven't put that. I love you too. You like Gillian says she loves us both.
Oh, Laura's off.
Pardon?
Laura's off. Time to take her meds. Good luck with your meds.
I know. Sweet dreams, Laura. And enjoy your tea, Laura. Enjoy your tea or dinner. As these times are just like over our heads. Do you like my big bun on my head? It's all falling out. Like, look, I've just been.
I think you look stunning this evening, Lindsay. Absolutely really nice.
La la, I love you both. We love you too. Nice one, YOLO. Well done, says Rob. And I take my hair out while we're live.
Where you are.
Oh, what?
I just said to Laura, what time is it? Laura's going off to have. Is it 6 hours different? So it could be 6 in the evening there.
I don't know. I'm not sure on what time. I don't know what time difference. I don't know how many pins. Oh, my head. Who are you waving to? Thank you, Yolanda. I really enjoyed it. You look beautiful, ladies. Yeah, you've got to say that though, Jules. We pay you.
Oh, I didn't pay that. I forgot to give them my subs. I'll let you double next week, Jules.
Oh dear, where's my little popcorn to put me grips? Do you know if I don't put my grips in a pot, John shouts at me because what he says is, if I find any more of them grips in the washing machine.
Oh.
Yeah, they do break the washing machine slightly. And so I hope everybody's enjoyed that little bit of a history buff there coming in with our lovely yo-yo paying mean brewers to, oh, do you know, she's dirty. She's dirty, yo-yo. We took a dirty lady with us tonight. We did. A tea. She says,
we met Jules today. We met Jules at the Spiritualist Centre and we saw an amazing artist, a medium artist.
We did.
What was her specific?
She does it. She's like working. I forgot how you pronounce it, yo-yo, but she works with like wax, with different waxes.
Stick.
A what?
encaustic art.
Encaustic art. So if anybody needs to know what that is, it's where you work with colours. And I think colours in general, I don't think it necessarily means working with the wax colours. I think it might mean colours in general. But absolutely fantastic. And we met Jules. Jules come along with us, and Jules got a reading. First time she's there. But Jules did say when she was getting ready, she had a knock. There were 2 knocks on a table, and she thought it were Gaz, and she says to Gaz, "Did you hear them knocks?" And she knew she was going to get a message. She knew before she come that she'd get a message tonight, which I think is brilliant, because I always do that. Marilyn Parkin, she was brilliant. She was Jules. She was really good. I'd recommend anybody if anybody sees the name Marilyn Parkin coming to a spiritualist church near you, please go see her. She is really amazing. It's 4 p.m. here in Ontario, California. It's Southern California. So it's 4 p.m. there, yo-yo. You have to remember that, because I'm shit with times. And
8 hours then.
And what?
So 8 hours.
8 hours. I'll let you remember that, because then when I went to phone her, I can work out a time I can phone her. So I don't phone her at middle of our night or middle of their night. But yes, no, me and Yo-Yo didn't get anything, but Jules did. Jules got a good reading, and it were brilliant. But yeah, so we met Jules, and when it comes to end, we all have a nice cup of tea, don't we, Yo-Yo? We have a nice cup of tea with everybody who's there, who wants to stay back. And I says to Jules, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And Jules says, "Oh, yes, please." I says, that's all. She says, "Tell them to leave tea bag." And I looked, and I went, "What?" She went, "Tell them to leave tea bag in my cup and just a drop of milk." I went, "You dirty lady." So I went into where they were making the teas, and it were Karen that were making teas. And I went, "Karen, I've got a very dirty lady with me." And yeah, she had a proper. Now that's what you call a proper builder's tea. When you leave the tea bag in it, that is a proper Yorkshire builder's tea. I don't know how they can. I don't know how anybody can drink. You might as well just suck on tea bag. The tea is that strong. You might as well have just sucked on tea bag, Laura. Just ask for a bit of hot water and just sat sucking tea bag, because that's all it tastes like. It is shocking. So anybody that has the tea like that, you're very, very dirty. You're dirty, dirty, dirty. We are 8 hours behind you in time in the UK. That's good, Laura. Lovely jubbly, yum, yum. Don't you mean slap, slap?
So you can cut through her cup of tea.
Oh, dear, honestly. So, yeah, it's been a very, very good night tonight. Thank you, Jules, for saying not Jules. It was Laura that said she liked the bun in the hair. I've just actually took all pins out and it's still stuck in. So she's proper get it a curl, hasn't she? It's coming out at back now. That I say so.
Did Joe do your hair for you?
Yeah. You don't think I did this, do you? Come on. I just put mine up in a ponytail and slap it on top of my head. I call that tea. You can stand your oh, Gillian, you're dirty. Sucking tea bags is great, Rob. There's something wrong with all on you. There's something wrong with all of you. Yolanda, does Rob suck tea bags?
That's his dirty.
Rob likes the strong tea, though. All she's done is she's just took my hair into the bobble.
You dirty boy, savage soldier.
She puts my hair into a bobble yo-yo, but she tucks my hair under the pillow. Watch this. I'll end up pulling all my hair out live on live. Ooh, there's a pin in my hair. I'm going to get the pins out. I don't want to go to bed with pins in the head.
No, you don't do that. You don't want to get a prick in the middle of the night in your head.
You dirty boy, savage. To the tea. You dirty boy, savage. I love it.
So, soldier, are you feeling better? Our soldier's been poorly. Don't discuss your business. I'll just say you've been poorly. Are you feeling better?
Yes, he's feeling a little bit back to himself. I did ask him a little bit earlier. Nanny Lynn, it's nice to see you've kept your matchsticks. It's nice that you've kept your matchsticks in for tonight for Yo-Yo. A prick in the head, Yolanda. Your bags and pricks. Oh my days. Oh, I've got to sound like Bagpuss. I daren't laugh.
I can't believe we're talking about teabagging and pricks.
Teabagging and pricks, eh? Anybody joining in and we're talking about teabagging and pricks, I think they're going to be like, wrong channel.
Slap. Oh, I'm pleased you are.
Dear me.
I'm pleased you're getting better, soldier.
So yes, I do want to, for members that weren't members last night, John, we were talking to Yolanda early because obviously Yolanda were listening to what got said in the members live that John did last night. It was to do with the soul. It was the soul contract.
Oh, soul contract.
And obviously, while John's reading it, you can't really stop. When you were reading, you don't really stop for chats to explain it. But I just want to say to all members that was reading that, when we sign a soul contract, and John was explaining that that it wasn't explaining, it was just reading. It's not our belief, it's what he was reading on that subject. And it said that on a soul contract, we sign the contracts before we come back to Earth. So if we've got to come back, when we come back to Earth, Dr. Spock, being mid-air, security. But no, when we come back in reincarnation or come back through energy, it sounded like we signed the contracts to be in bad relationships or to the things that we've gone through younger. It will sort of like it were condoned kind of thing. And it wasn't what it meant. How it was meant to come across was when we come back, people believe that there is a soul contract, and in my soul contract, I had to learn the loss of a loved one. Doesn't matter who that loved one would have been, but I just had to learn the value of that. Hence, I signed my soul contract. If I believed in soul contracts, I would have signed my soul contract to say I agreed to lose a loved one. So it wouldn't have given me an age I would have lost that loved one. It just means that I would have had to have lost a loved one. When it comes to things that happen in relationships, bad things that happen in relationships and stuff like that, that's not condoned. You don't sign that in your contract that you're going to come back and you're going to be a punch bag or you're going to be abused. So I just want to clarify to those members that are watching it and there wasn't really much explanation, much talking. Have I put that right, Yo-Yo?
Yeah, it's interesting. As Lindsay said, we were talking about it this evening, and I'm the same as John. Lindsay's different because Lindsay will read and stand up and look at the comments, and whereas John and I tend to read, but I know Lindsay's in chat and she's talking to everybody, so I know I can just read, and I think John does the same, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And John was reading out what the thing was, but it was promoting such huge thoughts in my head. And I think Mandy said, who's one of the members, that it's sort of like it's something really, it would be lovely to sit around a table and have a discussion about it. John was only the messenger for that. He wasn't promoting it, suggesting it.
No, it was just a topic that we'd chosen, but we didn't realise it was going to be as deep as what the subject actually got. We didn't learn on that one. Joe's put to learn the lessons we need to learn, Angra. Exactly. 0898.
Yeah, Claire.
Oh dear.
Missing the premium rate number across the bottom.
I might just put Yolanda's mobile number in.
What? I'd do it for free.
Or Rob's. I'll put Rob's mobile number in.
Jules is going to bring 2 tea bags next time. Ready for a tea bag.
I'll be having a tea. I was going to say I'd be having a tea bag round my head, but that's going to sound wrong on every level.
I'm saying usually 1 tea bag could do me 2 teas.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously what we were reading We do hope that it didn't offend or upset anybody.
I don't think
But
so. No.
no, I don't think it did. But I just don't want people, you know, like somebody that's like me, that my brain doesn't absorb. I have to talk. Obviously, you know that. I have to
Thank God
talk.
for
You
that.
know, if I'm reading something, I sort of Rob's put what? If I'm reading something, I can read something, but I can also look at the comments. I can see
Yeah, you're
comments that
brilliant.
are coming in.
Mm.
So if somebody puts a question in, or I think that I'm reading something that I need explaining to me, it's not explaining to you, it's explaining to me, then I will go into detail and try and explain it to myself, but explaining it live to you. So that's a big difference. It were in members, Laura. It were live in members, and yeah, it were brilliant. I'm never offended. I'm too thick to be offended. That's me, Jules. It's just like water off a duck's back. It's over my head. But yeah, so the soul, I've got to admit, that soul contract that got discussed in members, it were just like, it were mind blowing.
Joe Mack's obviously familiar with it. I'm reading Joe's comment.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, Joe's put lessons learned, to learn the lessons we need to learn and grow, and that's what the soul contract is that you'd sign if you believe that there is a soul contract to sign. Claire's put, after our deep conversation, let me put it up on screen. I'll put Joe's up first because Joe's put that in, to learn the lessons we need to grow. Claire's put, our deep conversation following the live last night. I've been on such a high today. Realizing what I've overcome in my life has made me feel strong and positive. Even my painter commented, I've been singing and whistling all day. Oh, that brilliant. Is brilliant. Yes, Laura, you can rewatch them. Everything in members that we've done in members is all, you can watch it all back, and you don't have to go searching all the way through it either. There's a topic across the top bar when you go into members. There's a topic section, and if you click on that topic section, if you go under, I think we put it under spiritualism, that one. So if you just go in topic section and just scroll down so you get to spiritualism and click that, and that's the first one in there. So yeah, they all can be rewatched, and yeah, anything that we do in members on video, we always put it so it can be rewatched as many times as you want, because sometimes people like to rewatch things and rewatch things back. So yeah,
it's very thought inspiring. I had massive arguments with myself last night. I was lying in bed, I was just about to drift off, and then something came in my head and I thought, that's bollocks. And I think, well, why is it? How do you know? And you know, when you start arguing with yourself,
yeah,
and it's like this side of the brain's arguing with that side of the brain, and it's going boom, boom, boom,
yeah.
boom.
I've got to, I was sat in here, obviously I was sat next to John when he were doing it, when he were reading, and I am going to put it back on tomorrow in afternoon, and I'm just going to sit back and close my eyes and listen to it again, because I don't think a lot registered, because I was like, it was talking about one thing, and then I'd be like, and then I'd jump, and then it'd jump forward, but my brain was still trying to work out what it, yeah.
Good point. Yeah, you're focusing on this, and you've missed the next couple of sentences before my brain twigged what was
exactly. The lady who was sat with us tonight, Yo-Yo, what's her first name, please? She's lovely. She's just added me on as a friend. Nita, Nita. She's just sent me a friend's, well, actually she gave me a phone and I sent myself a friend's request. She did want me to, though. I didn't just say, can I have your phone? I'm going to add you as a friend.
Jules, if you look at my friends list, you'll see her added, if that's the same one.
Yeah.
Gillian, yes. It was so annoying, Gillian, because you know when you're just about to go off into a nice sleep, and I could hear John's words coming in, and I was thinking, oh no, bollocks. And that's it, I'm awake then. And
bollocks.
Yeah, I'm not saying John was talking it, I'm just, the theology behind the whole thing, it was just brilliant. But it's like Mandy said, how fabulous if we'd all been sitting around a table. I tell you what, maybe a Zoom meeting. Hey, maybe we could do a Zoom meeting in members one day, because that would just be extraordinary.
You know what I'm going to do? Because I don't know how to start a Zoom meeting. So the person I'm going to talk to is the lovely Paul, because Paul does Zoom meetings. So what I might do is have a word with Paul and see if you can either help me out with a Zoom meeting, and see whether we can get that sorted, because a Zoom meeting would be really good. Because people, you can talk. I mean, I think you still have to wait for somebody to finish, but you sort of like can, yeah, it's a really good way of having a conversation, a bit like Messenger. Jules has put, I love that crystal that Nita bought. It were beautiful.
Oh, I wanted that.
That I wish I'd have looked in. I'll tell you something, if I'd have looked in that cabinet, and I can't believe Karen, that weren't even in cabinet. It got delivered and Karen went, I'm having that.
I'm pissed off because I looked in that cabinet and I bought this.
I know, you missed it, yeah.
I missed it, and I'd seen it. I was looking in the cabinet before Nita.
Yeah.
So I'm really pissed off.
I'm telling you, we'll be taking pounds and pounds and pounds with us next week. We are learning every single day. Right? Even if we have gone through similar things in the past, it's never the same experience. No, it's not, Joe. You can resonate with other people and you can have empathy with other people on what they've gone through, but it's definitely different. The second is answering yourself. Either way, I love you, and wipe your chin with the dribble. Who's dribbling? I have zoomed in. Zoomed in where? Where are you zooming, Joe?
Got Zoom. Joe's got Zoom.
Oh, I have zoomed. May have to talk to me and tell me how I set that up, because I've never done a Zoom, so it'd be interesting to see if I could do it.
I thought you did Zoom. I thought you did Zoom with Paul's.
Pardon?
You know when Paul Goddard did one of his things, I thought you were on Zoom as well.
No, I've got Zoom. I've never run, because the thing is, Paul, you know, like how we pay for StreamYards. Yeah. So we pay for StreamYards, so we can come on and we can have, we can go live on all different platforms all at the same time. If you use the free version, then you can only go live on one platform, let's say. So we couldn't do live on YouTube and Facebook together. You have to pay a monthly subscription. Okay. Now, I'm sure... thank you, Laura, my lovely. Much love to you. Thank you for the stars. But on Zoom, you can get the free version. Now, I don't know whether on the free version, you're only allowed, like, say, might be 6 to 10 people in chat. Whereas though the one that Paul's got, and I don't know if it's the same as what Joe's got, but Paul pays for his, so he can have more people, people coming into it. So it might be like you might get 6 free people. You might be allowed to have 6 free up.
Oh, okay.
Whereas though, that's why I want to look in ins and outs of how we can do it. But I'm definitely up for doing that again, the soul contract, and having it where we've got open discussions. I mean, even if, do you know what we could do? We could try and do I mean, I know we've done it in members, and members I've seen that first, but we could try and do it on the main page, but put the link into the chat. So anybody that's got a question that wants to say something could actually come on and actually come on screen, because you don't need to come on and show your face. You can just come on as a voice.
But Claire's just on there, Paul, can we use your Zoom? So could it be, you know, Paul's going to do a Tuesday?
Yeah. It's slightly different. It's slightly different because it's a complete different setup. It's not like it's just completely, it's just a complete different setup. Because there's passwords, there's all sorts. You can't just like what Paul might do. Paul might say, oh, I'm interested. I'll run it as a workshop and we all discuss it as, because they don't know whether Paul's interested in soul contracts and stuff like that. So it's just, we'll fathom it, we'll sort it. I've never seen one of those before either that Karen brought. Can you remember what Karen called it? An energy circle, were it?
Something like that, some sort of protection wheel, and
something like a I can't remember. She actually called it something. I can't remember with a shed. It's a protection. It's a protection circle or an energy circle. I'm gonna have to have a look. Zoom is used more for business. That's it. It's more for businesses and stuff like that Zoom gets used, like business calls, etc. So it is slightly different to what we're doing. I was being cheeky. You don't get anywhere without being cheeky. Paul might watch this and say, "Now then, you cheeky mate." No, but Paul may help us out a little bit with it. I'll have to speak to Paul. I've just bought my stars. I got 1,200 for £17. You've what, Gillian? You've never...
Oh, she's bought a bundle of stars.
Yeah, but not for £17, you haven't. Not 1,000. I bet you add another note on end of that. I bet you've bought for £17, Gillian. You've bought some right stars. Can't you get your money back on buying them, Doug? That's a lot of stars. You'll have got more than 1,200 for £17, surely. Because I think for 500 stars, it's only, I don't know, is it only something like about £3 for 500, something daft like that?
I'm not sure, really. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It might be less. It might. I know for 100. I think it's only. I think it's. I don't know. I think it might be about 98 pence for 200 stars. Something that I don't know. I'm not sure. Gillian, have a look. Check your star bank and see, because £17, hell of a lot of money. Message Facebook and tell them. On Instagram, you can live stream yourself and 2 people. Yeah, so it's a bit like this. I can have 6 people on this screen. No, that's all. It's an offer. Oh, wow. Well, that's weird. I don't. You're not getting a lot for your money that you've just paid in, Gillian. For £17, that's not a good deal at all.
Is 1 star a penny?
It works out 1 star's a penny. So
100 stars a £1.
So 1,000 stars works out at roughly around about £10. So 1,000 stars, yeah, because 500 stars is round about a £5. So 1,000. So she's paid 17 for 1,200. That's why it's got to be wrong. There's got to be something that wrong. Mine says 530 stars for £7.38. That's what I mean. So I don't know what offer. I don't know what it's definitely you. There's something you're missing out. You've missed a number off, Gillian, somewhere. You've got.
Maybe there's another 0 on the end, Gillian.
Yeah. I mean,
should it be 12,000 stars for £17?
It could be 12. Yeah, do you know it's more like 12,000? Is a penny 99? Yes, it's like 99p. Yeah, I can't see him raising cost, Joe. I mean, not when you can get Jules has just put on for £7.38. She gets 530. But again, it's still. Do you know they charge a lot, don't they, to say it's a penny a star? It's yeah, they could have. I don't know because I don't know how they work. But that's a lot to pay. That's a lot to pay, Gillian. I hope they send you free ones after you've spent that much. They should do. But yes, but no, it doesn't sound right, Gillian. It's an individual kind of thing. I suppose it is. My lovely. So yeah. So what were we saying?
A penny is 90. No, not
a penny. Well,
100 pennies make a £1, Laura. And I think, is a pound $half now? Wow. I don't know the exchange rate.
Oh, bless you, Gillian.
Oh, Gillian.
Sent us 200. Thank you, my lovely.
It also says 99 stars is 78 pence.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense.
I wonder whether there's different. There must be different levels. There's got to be. I don't know. I don't understand it, Jules, because that's how I see it on mine, Jules. Mine says for 99 stars, it's 78 pence because you get them cheap. You're supposed to get them cheaper than what they actually are. You know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it all works, to be honest. So I will have a look, but I know if there's a foul, you need to do it from your end. You need to get in touch with Facebook during stars, because once you've bought them, I don't know how it works. It's
very sweet of you, Gillian.
Yeah, but thank you, Gillian, my lovely, for sending us those stars. And thank you to everybody else as well. But yes, so forgot to say. Oh yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, you can go live. And I never knew you could go live on Instagram though, and have myself and 2 other people on. I think that's an interesting one as well. You see, there's all these different platforms that you can use.
But Laura's got Zoom. Laura's got Zoom. I noticed she'd said. So
yeah, see, the thing is, you can just download Zoom. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to use it in that sense. But like what you can do is so like it's like Paul does his Zoom meetings. So Paul can just send me a link to sign in, and then I just go on and sign in. And I'm straight into Zoom. There's no messing.
So it's the host that has to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
You do have to pay for extra people you want in. So it's me and 3 people. Oh wow, that's still good though. Did you see the news article today about a new theory suggesting that the Earth itself may be an intelligent being? I bloody did not. Do you know where to still find that? Actually, I just have to Google it, don't I, really? I'll tell you something, though. Do you know, that makes quite a lot of sense to what we're reading on the spiritual side of the faith, and how they work with the energies, and how Mother Earth and everything works with them. So it's really, really, that's really interesting. Gaza's just said, what do you think to the village idiot? Oh, bless you, Gillian. The village idiot. So, did you know there was a baby born today, 2022 at 2 p.m.
Oh wow, Joe! No,
that's an interesting one.
On Tuesday, 22222 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Lots of
so tonight we was coming out of the church. There was myself, Yolanda, Jules, and Gaz had come to pick Jules up. So I said, "Oh, come on, we're going to go out and wave." So I went out and I shouted Gaz at the top of my voice just to embarrass him. I didn't really embarrass him, you know. He was like, "Sweet sir." But we were talking, and you know how I laugh. I was doing a little bit of laughing, and I don't know whether these a little bit of laughing.
She sounded quite pissed up coming out of a pub. Why?
Well, I think that they'd been. I think they'd been drinking, and I think they'd been. No, I think they'd been drinking, and I think they'd been to the football match, and because they'd lost, I think they got face on. Yeah. So his mate and his bird continued down, and he sort of like walked past where we were stood, and he started mimicking my laugh.
He did.
So I laughed more.
Well, I took the crap out of him.
Yeah, so I laughed more, and then he would just take him piss and laugh at doing it again. And at one point, I thought he could come back.
Lindsay, I did.
So at one point, he's going to turn around and he's going to come up and like maybe a little bit aggressive towards us, but he didn't. He just buggered off into his house. But
one of the girls was standing outside the spiritual centre, doubled over laughing.
She was laughing.
She was laughing.
I thought it was so funny. But I think me were waiting for him coming back because it was just as he were doing it, weren't it?
Yeah, it was
2022. That's a right birthday that kid's gonna have. But he did make me laugh, that bloke. It's only money I'd rather send stars than anything else. Oh, bless you, Julian. I need to send her my hubs to pick me up some lottery. Yes, get your lottery tickets in, Laura. You'll never win if you don't have it. I only seen him. I thought he was a crackhead, to be honest. He could have been, Jules. He could have been, but I think more than anything, just because of the timing and the way that they'd walk back. I don't know whether that's like a shortcut back from town, but yeah, I think they could have been. I think they could have been at match or watching match in a pub, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, definitely. Definitely wasn't. Well, I thought you were a bit of a funny fella myself, but not a funny ha-ha fella, just a funny fella. But yes, so I'm not. Oh, Jules has not heard about that. I'm definitely out on Google. Yes, definitely. Did you know today the date is I'm going to put that up. Did you know today's date is a palindrome, a word phrase, or a sequence that reads the same backwards as forwards, e.g., madam or nurse's run? I don't get that. Nurse's run.
Madam backwards,
I see the
Lindsay.
run. Yeah, but I see the run.
If you read nurse's run backwards, it reads the same as it does forward.
I get you. Yes, yeah. Nurse's run, nurse. Yeah, I get that.
And I also
no,
think if you
I
put it in front of the mirror, it reads the same as well.
I didn't know. And to be honest, I've never heard of a palindrome date or anything. Blame the school for that lack of knowledge. But yeah, noon mom, etc. So Claire's put another one up. He would have been a very brave or stupid man if he'd have come up to confront us. I know. Dear, could you imagine if he had? Oh, lordy, it would have been fun. I'd have thrown my stick at him. I'd have hit him with my bag. Dear. I'd have run him all with care. Ambigram. An ambigram is a word or design that retains meaning when viewed from a different direction or perspective. Look at you, Joe, mate. Where's all this information coming from? At what time is it? At midnight. Where's all this brain information coming from? Specifically, a rational ambigram reads the same when viewed upside down. Do you know, I'm going to sleep so much better tonight with this knowledge that Joe's giving us tonight. My brain's
going to write it out, aren't you, and put it against the mirror and turn it upside
down. Bless you, Gillian, my lovely, sat here with one eye open. Oh, take care, my sweet lady, and we'll speak soon. So take care. Love you loads, Gillian, and sweet dreams.
Bye, Gillian. Sweet dreams. Lots of love. Thanks so much for staying awake for tonight.
I taught my mum that today, who is 72, and I'd never heard of that also. No, I'd never heard of it. Never. Laura's put, Krakens feels like bolts, jellyfish stinging on my shingles spots. Oh, bless you, Laura. Sending you loads of healing. Oh, so you've got shingles as well. Do you know, they can be so painful, shingles. I don't think people really know how painful shingles can actually be. I know we've had a few ladies in chat that have, I know Sheila were bad for a long time. Who is it that's just recovered? I do apologise. I don't know, is it Patricia that's just recovered from?
I think it was Patricia that was saying that she had
I thought it was Patricia that said that she just recovered. And I know that extra painful research, Lindsay. I know I need to research. I need to look in and put in these big words for my little brain to research. I come to life after midnight. You bloody do, Joe. I don't know where it is. You're pulling them out your ass here. It's like, woof. Come on, let's get your brains thinking. It's too late. It's too late.
Jules and me, the Wide Awake gang. Time to party.
I'm not. Have you noticed? I start off sitting up, and now I'm slouching. I'm slouching.
But you're up early. You've got your little ones that wake up.
Take care, soldier, my lovely. Sweet dreams, and speak to you soon. John will probably give you a ring tomorrow, soldier, if you're about.
I hope you sleep well, sweetheart. Lots of love and get well soon. We're missing you.
Irene, my lovely lady. I hope you're well.
Claire say she's going too.
I don't know. I'm going. My head hurts. Get my head down. Claire, 6 hours. No worries, my lovely. Sweet dreams, my beautiful lady. And I shall speak to you tomorrow, Claire. See you soon, my sweet lady.
Hello, Irene.
Irene. We're singing to you. Always sleep with one eye open into Sandman, Metallica. Do you know, their songs John likes? John likes all stuff like that. I'm a mixture. Sounds good. Adios, amigos. But you know, John loves that kind of heavy music. I like it, but I like to hear the words. Some of them, it's just like there's no singing. I like to sing, even though I can't sing. I do like to sing.
And sing.
We did some singing tonight, didn't we? We sang.
They got it wrong,
We sang Yo-Yo's favourite song of all times. She was only telling me other week how much she absolutely loved this song. What one? Which one it?
Plaintive wailing. You raise me up before something
on mountains. No, you lift me up. Walk on mountains, weren't it? And yeah, we were all singing, sat on the front row. We were singing, blasting our vocal tunes out. But the best thing is, it wasn't the song that we thought it was. I'm singing it like they sang it. What do you call them now? Ronan Keating, their band.
Westlife. No, Boyzone.
Boyzone. I think. It was Westlife that sang "You Raise Me Up." I think it was Westlife that sang it. So I'm singing it like Westlife. Next minute, I got to really belt out that last chorus. There's only me and about 3 other people singing, and there's no music, no singing coming out. If I ain't got a live on, I have music on. I need to get more into my musicy type thing.
Do you know what I enjoy
listening to? Pardon?
It's not singing, but I listened to today. I put on, you'd know it, Vivaldi's Four Seasons, the winter part of Vivaldi's Four Seasons. That's fucking amazing. What? Vivaldi's Four Seasons. It's classic.
Are you really talking to me about classical music?
You'd know it, Lindsay. If you heard it, you'd know it. You would know it. They use it in adverts as well.
Do you know the only one? Do you know the only musical or pounding voice that I hear the only what do I know from music from what kind of music did you say? It's not opera, is it? Classical. So what kind of classical music do I know? I don't. I know a few opera songs. Classical music. I don't think
Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Isn't that classical Beethoven?
Yeah, you'd know that.
I've heard that one. Yeah. And that one with Face Off missing. Is it Andrew Lloyd Webber did that one?
Phantom of the Opera stuff.
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Pavarotti. I like Pavarotti. Well, I don't even know. I know who Pavarotti is. But
he did Nestor, didn't he?
You recognise Winter, Vidal, Lindsay. I don't. Do you know? I'm gonna look. I'm gonna put it on my phone before I go to bed. Can you hum it? Can you hum it?
Vivaldi's Four Seasons, Winter. You'd know it. No. I can do Beethoven's Fifth.
Didn't they do a theme tune to a TV program? See, I'm still here with one eye open. Bless you. I probably will do it. I mean, if it's been on an advert, Jules is choking. I nearly choked today. Oh my God. I got a polo in my mouth, and this lady turned around and said, "It's like a shark." Oh, but sharks aren't friendly. I nearly spat and I choked at the same time. It was bad. Ed Sheeran's good. Like a little bit already. Like a little bit.
Joe Mac likes meditation music.
Yolanda, you have just sang Beethoven's Fifth Yo-Yo.
Yep.
That's what you just
sang. I love that. Yeah.
I think the nearest music I come to classical would be Do you know, I honestly,
I bet you know loads of classic.
I might know them. You know, like the Hovis song. Is that like classical?
I think that's
is that similar?
Air on a G string. Somebody Max just put on Air on a G string by Bach, and you said the Hovis advert, and I thought, oh, what's that one? And now I've got Air on a G string.
Oh no, so it's not the Air on a G string. Hair on a G-string.
You'd know that. You'd know that as well.
Would I?
Mm.
I need to get some classical on. Hooked on classics, Lindsay. I need to. That's what I'm on about, Lindsay. You choking. Honestly thought I was going to choke. I thought I was going to spit. I did spit a little bit, but then I like choked. But I like music. Yeah, I'm more musicals than classicals. I think that's the way to put it. I like me Sound of Music, and I like the Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and I like all them kind of. What was that one where you got I can't remember the name of it. It weren't Carousel. You got two gangs that were. I can't remember that.
Story.
West Side, yeah, that's it. West Side Story. So I'm more a musical than a classical.
Actually, to be honest,
now I come to think of it,
like
classical. She were a classical, but she played violin. They're classicals, aren't they? The violinists that come out and play classical music. Yeah. And David likes Black Sabbath. It's on YouTube. Send you a link in a messy. No worries, man.
Guns N' Roses, I like. Black Sabbath, I like. Pink Floyd.
Do you know what I did like? I liked before he went all freaky and called himself Q. I think he started calling himself. Was Purple Rain Man.
Prince.
Jane.
Prince. I never got on with
Calamity Jane. Jimmy Nail. Fucking Jimmy Nail. Crocodile
Jimmy Nail did a brilliant couple of songs, didn't he?
He did what, Yolanda? Can you just say that again? Jimmy Nail did what? A couple of classics? Which one is it? I know we all like different music, but come on, Yo-Yo.
He did.
Yeah,
I fancied him. Alvida's Same Pet.
It wasn't. I loved Alvida's Same Pet.
Yeah,
used to watch that with my nana and my auntie Brenda on a Saturday night. I'd go round and stop, and it'd be Alvida's Same Pet coming on.
And then the Londoner, was that Wayne?
Yeah. Like Wayne. Yeah. He died though, didn't he? Yeah, he died quite young. And I know. Yeah, I think he only did. I don't know if he died. I don't know if he made it through first season or he died just before the end of first season.
I think the last time we see him was when they were on the yacht and they were in Spain, and that was the last time we saw him.
Yeah. Oh, you've got a fan with you though. You've got a fan for your Jimmy Nail. For your Jimmy Nail. You've got a fan. Gaz likes Jimmy Nail.
It was Gaz that put it up that made me remember Jimmy Nail.
We had an album. Jimmy Nail. See, you've got a classical friend there with Gaz. I'm sorry, but I'm not a Jimmy. I like Jimmy Nail as a actor, but I'm not a fan of the Jimmy Nail singing voice. But then again, I'm a bit sad because I like that Jerome and what do you call his face? I used to like Soldier when it used to come on telly.
Oh, they did. What was that classic they did?
They did. It's off Ghost, isn't it? Where they're rubbing their hands up and down.
They did that beautifully, didn't they?
Well, again, it's a piss take one, isn't it, that people do. I love it when classical meets modern. Bowie, you can't beat Bowie. I did like a lot of Bowie stuff, but then again, I didn't like. Again, it was like a mixture.
Robson,
Robson, that's it. I sort of like pick a couple of songs from each different. Is it genres?
Exactly. Lindsay.
Yeah, pick a different few from all.
I mean, there's even some bits of opera I like.
No, it weren't Loving Feeling, were it? They did that one, Loving Feeling, but it weren't that one. It were right like what Righteous Brothers sing, weren't it? That's what they sang.
Oh my
Michelle, my lovely,
my darling,
yeah, from Devon. Oh, I hope you're all safe. Devon, my lovely. I hope you haven't had much damage down there. Unchained Melody, that's it. A bit of Unchained Melody.
Hello, Michelle. Sorry, I just got the song in my head and I had to sing.
So she's there, like, singing it to herself and just humming it along.
Hello, Michelle.
Rob, that's all she's going to sing to you tonight is Unchained Melody. You're going to be sat on computer and you're going, oh, for God's sake, Yolanda, shut up. She's going to go to sleep and she's going to wake up with Unchained Melody beaming out of her lungs. Yeah. What about that poor Neil who had a hole in his shoe that was letting in water?
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Who's
Letting
that?
in water.
A what?
I've only got a bit of a...
Letting in what? Letting in what?
Oh, that's all I got, that
Lily,
line.
the pink, the pink, the pink.
That was good. The failure of the human race, fully invented, medicinal compound, most efficacious in every way.
Neil from the Young Ones. I loved Young Ones. I grew up on them. I always wanted to be a young one.
Yeah. Can you imagine trying to do
My
that comedy
fantasy
now?
growing up was to be a young one. Dear. Used to watch them when I was like 5,
What's
and
your
I'd be like,
ambition?
I want to be a young
Doctor,
woman.
young one.
Yeah, the young ones.
Surely the young one.
Dear me.
Your ambition? I want to be a young one.
My ambition in life was to be a young one and work alongside Rick Mail. And I loved Rick Mail, though. I've got to admit, he was one of my favourites. It was a sad day when he passed for me. I really like. I'm not really big on stars passing because I think, well, they get enough recognition when they're alive. Do you know what I mean? But when he were really, I always wanted to drive in a banana buggy. Is that a song, or is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, Dave? You'd always like Scorpions, Venom, AC/DC. Definitely, Laura. Yeah, Laura, you've got so much in common with John. Wasn't that Nelly who had a hole in her sock and a hole in her shoe? I don't.
It was letting in water, letting in water. Oh,
What's
what
the next bit of song?
That's all I've got from it.
Name that tune.
Name that tune.
Alice. Who the feck is Alice? Living next door to Alice.
Oh, who did that? Who was that? Jasper Carrot that did a version of that?
No, it were him that's got banned from Sheffield. What do you call him? Roy Chubby Brown, weren't it? Who the fuck is Alice? Didn't he did a version of it, didn't first. He did a version of it anyway.
That's it. Who the fuck is Alice? That's it.
Fuck is Alice? Yeah, Alice.
The banana splits.
Banana splits. In that banana splits.
1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4.
The Bandits. I remember Smokey and the Bandits. And they were classic films, weren't they? The Smokey Bandit ones. You never get to watch out like that. Even at Christmas, they don't bring out like that back on. You know, it was like Clint Eastwood films when they used to come out and they do a full thing of Clint Eastwood. You don't see any oldies goldies now, do you?
No, I like the old one.
Well, kids these days, I'm going to sound like my nan now. Kids these days ain't got a clue what classical films are or what. They've just lost it. Cannonball Run, that were another one.
Everyone's offended nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they've like Little Britain have gone and everything.
It does my head in that everybody gets offended by. All right, it's not like I understand why some of it has to come off, but then I'm like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's my way of thinking. I don't watch gardening programs because I'm not a keen gardener. But I won't be going on and saying ban gardening programs because that tomato's just offended me, or that cucumber looks rude and it's offended me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to go and complain about a gardening program. So why are they? Why just don't watch?
Maybe I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. I might start getting offended. I've never been offended.
I'm going to get offended at wonky vegetables. So gardening programs need to stop. When you have grown up with people such as Rick Mail and their past, how can you not feel anything? He was a comedy genius alongside with French and Sodas, Ade Edmondson's, Robbie Coltrane, who were all at uni together in the comedy strip.
Exactly.
It's a rude. Well, it does. Fonzie. Hey. I used to watch that as well.
Like
Now we're
traffic,
on
that's
about
it, Rob.
cucumbers. Definitely. 0898. 0898 numbers coming out soon. Cucumbers. Them dodgy cucumbers. Oh, bless you, David. Adios, my lovely. Take care.
Adios.
Get some sleep, Dave. But yeah, so but yeah, for me, if you're offended by something, you don't go back and watch it, do you? You just switch it off. And
I do think people enjoy being offended though nowadays, Lindsay. I don't think there's anything better than somebody being offended nowadays. They all love it.
when I met my hubs, he had the 1979 black trams and the Bandit mobile. Is that I might be a bit naive. Is that a motorbike, the Bandit? Is that a black trams and Bandit mobile, or is that a phone handheld? I don't know. Oh, Laura, I do apologise. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesdays, happy days. Thursday, happy days. What a day to spend the day. Working all week. You, ha ha. Oh, right. I think we're going to call it. We've been on again nearly 2 hours. Up to an hour after Yo-Yo's finished her reading. So we've had a nice little evening chit chat between the 8 of us. I think it's been an absolute blast. I've been saying I'm going for the past 10 minutes. I know you can't, can you? MC was a Bandit. I thought it was. Bandit is in MC. They're motorbikes, aren't they? The MCs. No. It's
Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit. I get you. Oh, your hubs had one of them. Laura. No wonder you married him. Thank you for tonight. It's been brilliant. It has, Jules, and it's been a pleasure meeting you. And proper just linked in and gelled with us all, didn't you? It were fantastic. So it's a car. I get that now, Laura. I do apologise, my lovely. Again, like Smokey and the Bandit and stuff. Big things. Lindsay, did you watch Grange Earl with Tucker Jenkins and Zamo? Just say no. Just say no. No to druggies. Starsky and Hutch, another one. What were them other one? Them police ones on bike. I think that were an American one. Fish and chip. It weren't fish and chips.
The dark-haired one. Cool. He was fanciable.
Rent a Ghost. Yeah, we had 81 Trans AM. Wow, is that another car? I take it. Wow. What was that one? It weren't fish and chips, were it? It were chips.
Just chips, isn't it? It's with California Highway
Patrol. You didn't call them fish and chips, but it were chips. It weren't just chips. There was another name as well, weren't they?
It was chips.
It weren't chips. There was another word to it. Charlie says, "Don't cross the road when the light's on red."
Why don't you? All the TV
Charlie says, "Don't pick litter up off the floor." No, it weren't just called. Sure, it weren't called chips.
I thought it was just called chips.
I thought it was called something else. That's why I said. Oh, that might be why it said it. See, it wasn't called chips. It was C.H.I.P.S. That's why it wasn't chips. I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't. Jules and Rob and Gillian was spelling it, but now Laura's put it in.
Now Laura's done it properly for you.
Now
we're talking. Now we're cooking with gas.
There you go. The green cross, good guy. I remember this isn't that long ago. Tango Man. That got
when you did Tango.
Oh, that were brilliant. You just used to run up to people. And so I don't know whether you did, but I did. Used to run up to people. Obviously, I knew him, and I'd tango him in the street. And but there'd be strangers in the nightclub. You'd just go up and tango. We'd be laughing his heads off in a corner, and this poor person's just had a big slap outfit. When they banned that was so funny. He-Man and Grace, Castle of Grace. Oh yeah, originals, best ones. Sometimes referred to as wankers. Who's referred to as wankers? Gaz says Fall Guy. Fall Guy were good. Didn't he also play $1 Million Man or something? $1 billion. What was that one? $1 Million Man.
Oh, what was his name?
No, the same person that played. Which same person that played?
I think it was. Majors, Lee Majors, was it?
Lee Majors, yeah. Didn't he play Fall Guy and the? It is
He might have
no,
done.
not $1 Billion Man. It was Bionic. When he Bionic something.
Oh, there was quite a few of those out at the time, though, wasn't there? They all blur into one.
Yeah, they were. And what were them? Daisy Duke.
Oh, I loved them.
What were they? Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard.
I always wanted a Dukes of Hazzard car, so I could be Daisy Duke and just like slide in.
Yeah, jump in the car through the window.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been amazing. Amazing. So I have the power. So because I have the power, I am going to say good night.
It's been fabulous of everyone to join us again.
It's been a fabulous night, honestly. Though it's been amazing to actually meet.
Lindsay,
to see Gaz for 5 minutes in the car. But no, it was really good. It was good how we all gelled as well. Very much similar personalities going off here. So can't wait to meet up. Dukes of Hazzard were great, says Rob C. I have got good taste. Lee Rogers.
So could I.
That's it. Bionic Man. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So long, farewell. I'll be saying goodbye. I hate
we'll have to do one night. We'll have to do maybe
say goodbye. I'll go in the bedroom and John will say, I thought you said you were going to be fucking quiet. And I'll be like, I have been quiet. I'm not noisy. I'm not making a noise.
Don't sound loud to me.
Shall I shout right now? Do you know if kids weren't here, I'd shout loud. I'd go, night, John boy.
I just hope you can't hear me booming down the microphone.
No, because I've got sound really turned down. So they can't hear you in any other rooms. You're just in my confined space. But my voice isn't in my confined space. My voice is...
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lindsay. Maybe we could do one of these late night chats with these guys on.
Oh, that'd be good. Just come on without the stories, just come and do a late night chat. Yeah, because Claire said she wanted to come on and join us. She wants to come on and join us, so we could do a late night one. If we did it, say about, we call it about 11:15. We could do come on about 11:15, 11 o'clock-ish one night. Or even 10:30. 10:30 could be a late night on 10:30.
That would be 10:30. That would be about 3:30 for Laura. 10 minus 8.
Yeah.
2:30 for Laura.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Joe. I actually do love this jumper. It's one of my favourite ones. It's meant to keep me cool just because it's got an open neck, but on back it's got a big V on back.
Joe, it's stunning at the back. It's also like looped crochet at the back.
I would turn around and show you, but before we went live, I said to Yolanda, "Where's Rob?" And she said he's upstairs. I said, "Good, well, I'm going to undress." So I took my trousers off. So if I stand up now, it's not a pretty sight. It's not. Right, we're going to go before we continue blabbering on like we are. So, Yo-Yo, do you want to say your good night, my love?
Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for joining in this evening. It's been fabulous. Have a lovely evening. Sleep well. Laura, have a lovely rest of your day.
Good taste, Jules. Good taste. So I am going to say thank you very much, Yo-Yo, for coming on and doing your stuff. Okay. The history is brilliant. Love the history stories. And I do love the fact that there's ghost stories attached, which keeps it in with the paranormal and the history side. So, thank you so much. I forgot what I was going to say then, but all I'll say is thank you so much for everybody supporting Yo-Yo coming on when she's doing a reading. It's really good to see you and talk to you all in chat, because normally I'm on screen, so I don't really talk in chat. So it's nice for you not to hear my voice, really. Get your ears up so your ears don't bleed.
Really hearing your voice, Lindsay. You underestimate yourself.
Took my trousers off, Laura. Took my trousers off. They're here, look. They're here. Oh dear. I'm not Nicholas though. I'm not Nicholas. I took my trousers off, but I'm not Nicholas. So good night, everybody. many blessings. Have a great day to those that are up and awake. Love across the waters. Good night to everybody who's off to bed, and we will see you tomorrow 10:30. I will be live on the main page for breakfast with Lindsay. Laura, I hear your voice in my head and I like it. There's a song in like that. I like it. I like it. Oh, Charles, we're just leaving. Charles, we're just finishing, my lovely.
Oh my
But love across the water to you, and hopefully you catch us tomorrow, Charles. So yeah, I'm going to be live tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. UK time, and then from then,
jogging, so I won't be able to join you.
Yeah, you'll be out jogging. And then I will be going straight over to members and doing some more on the spiritualism of the fairies, the fae, which has been absolutely fantastic, going into different kinds of spiritualism. The next one we're going to be doing in members is shamans. Shamanism is what it's called. So when we've finished this spiritual this side of spirituality for the fairies, we're going to do the shamans. So much love to you all, and take care. Jules will be in touch for us next meet up, and Claire, she's buggered off to bed anyway, hasn't she, Claire Bear? I don't know why I call her Claire Bear. I do apologise, Claire. Claire's buggered off to bed and left us. So who's going to there in the AM? I'm now going to look back at some crystals to buy. Jules, naughty. I hope he's gone to bed. I hope Gaz has gone to bed, so you can't see what you're spending.
Oh, Joe Mac's ahead of us. Joe Mac does a guided meditation, shamanic guided.
I do do the meditations when we listen to them online. I do meditations, but I want to get to grips with the beginning of how the shamanism all came about, and the different beliefs on what they do. So it's like, very quickly, I'm not going into, we've got to finish, but it's like with people that believe in the paranormal on a ghostly side. So poltergeist to them is somebody that moves things about in the house. On the fae side, it's a brownie. Brownies will move things around your house. There'll be other characters as well that come in, but it's the brownie that moves stuff around the house. So when we do the shamanism, it's going to be lovely to see what the shamanisms would class as a brownie and as a poltergeist, if they class them as that, or if they class them as something else. So it's really, really interesting. So yeah, so we shall see you all in the morning. So good night, everybody. Sweet dreams.
God bless.
Catch you later. Love you loads. Mwah. A nanny kiss.